So why don't we just start, and how about you guys just tell us a little bit about where you guys are at and what you're doing right now, and I don't know, get to know you guys a little bit, because I only know everybody on the site from just names. That's it. So Christine, you were first in, so why don't you tell us about you?
We're in Utah, in South Utah County, and we started a practice from scratch, just from nothing. It's crazy.
How long have you been practicing?
Let's see. I think just about 4 months.
Okay.
Wow.
Not quite 4 months. We are not
how's it going? How's it going so far?
Slow.
Slow.
Very slow, but super busy, but not enough patients.
Yeah, that usually happens. And I'm just curious, what made you guys decide to go private as opposed to buy out or anything else?
It was just the right thing to do. It was not like our choice. We are not like crazy entrepreneurs or anything. It was just like undoubtedly the right thing to do, and we called and talked to a doctor, and he sounded like he would have Levi work with them for a little while, and then he could maybe become a partner, but he said you could work on your own. Anyway, it was just I don't know. Here we are. I have no idea how it happened.
Well, it's a brave move for you guys because it's not easy. I mean, going on your own no matter what is not the easiest thing ever. So, anyway, okay, Julie.
All right. So we are in a process of buying a practice right now. We're in the middle of the transition period with the doctor. So my husband's there working with the doctor, but we're not the ones actually getting really paid right now. And the doctor has been slowing down. We're in Nevada. He's been slowing down for the past couple of years and doesn't see as many patients, doesn't work half the week, type of stuff. So need to build the practice back up to
where are you in Nevada?
We're in Reno.
Oh.
So the practice will be we're supposed to fully take over in April, and then we'll be on our own.
And what made you guys want to what made you pick this particular doctor to buy out? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you just paused for a little bit. Did you ask what made us choose private practice?
Yeah, like what made you pick like location or that specific doctor?
It was just it fell into our laps. A friend of ours had done all the research on this and was going to buy the practice, but then he decided to take a different job, and he called and asked us if we were interested, and we were, because of the location and because of it's a good opportunity. There's not very many podiatrists in Reno, so
That's shocking.
It's good that way, and Reno's growing like crazy, so we felt like it was a good opportunity, but still it's a lot of work and it's scary.
Yeah, right. It is. It's scary. You never know what's going to happen and what you're going to come across through the whole situation.
Yeah.
So we've got Jillian. Is that you?
Yep. Hi. Yep. I'm trying to figure out how to put my on the bottom, but yeah.
Yeah. So if you go over to the left-hand side real quick, you'll have a little toolbox. Click on that. Mm-hmm. It'll say allow. You allow it. And on the top it says lower third. So just put your name, where you're from, and switch that bad boy on. And it's underneath a little silhouette. It's a little head in a circle. Go ahead and take
I'm going to talk for a minute just to see if I can.
Okay. I think I see it. Yep.
My little picture is frozen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh. Is my picture frozen for you? Or is it me?
No, you're moving. I see you moving.
All right. My little picture's frozen down here. That's okay.
There we go. Ta-da.
Why? I can't get it to work.
Julie, you fail. No.
I pushed that on and off so many times.
That's fine. We'll just know you really well. You'll be the one person who doesn't have a name bar, and we know who you are.
Oh,
Okay.
oh okay.
So we were just doing really small introductions, and so Christine was telling us, where they're at, what they're doing, in Utah, and Julie was telling us about being in Reno. So why don't you tell us where you guys are at, where you're practicing, and did it fall into your lap, etc.
All right. So do you want me to do that?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Okay. We are in Eugene, Oregon. We just finished residency last summer and started in the practice in like August. And we are buying into the practice. And then we will be buying, and so we have a partner, and we'll be buying him out when he retires in the next year or so. And yeah, it kind of just came to us. We had been looking all over for jobs and things, and we went to we had them put our CV and cover letter on the state Podiatry Association website for Oregon because we knew we wanted to go to Oregon. And about a week later, the doctor that we're partnering with emailed us and said, "Hey, I'm looking to retire in the next couple years. I'd like to meet you or talk to you or whatever." And so here we are. So yeah.
Now, is that Alicia? Is it Alicia, right?
Yes.
All right, you can hear us, everything, and we're good? You can.
Yep.
Awesome. So if you want, real quick, go over to the left-hand side of your screen. A little sidebar will pop up. There'll be a little red toolbox. Click on that guy and say Allow on the very bottom at the end of a bunch of miscellaneous options. And then you'll get a handy-dandy toolbox that'll pop up on your right side of your screen. And just look for the little silhouette in a circle of the head on the far left. And then in the lower third, right below it, it'll say Name, Tagline. So just write your name, where you guys are from, or where you're practicing. And just turn that guy on.
Okay, thank you.
And just so you guys know, I do have a control bar, so if anybody's mic seems a little out of balance or you're getting a little reverb, I'll tone you down just a little bit, but feel free to turn it back up when you're talking or anything. But just so everything's pretty even, Kellen, I'm going to take care of that for you guys. So we were just doing little introductions, so Alicia, why don't you tell us where you guys are at, where you're practicing, and kind of where you're at right now.
Okay, we started our own practice in Idaho Falls, Idaho. My husband is from here, and he said he didn't care how our practice did, but he had to be in Idaho. So here we are. We practiced for about a year in New Mexico before we moved up here.
And how is your practice going right now so far?
It's a year old, and we were super busy in December, just because everybody else was. So that was really nice. But other than that, we haven't been, full.
Yeah, I hear that. So, do you want me to start kind of going through the questions we've received? And as you guys come across things that you want to ask, you can just feel free and say, got a question about that. And then we'll just kind of bounce back and forth and see what you guys... Yeah. So, one of the first questions that we had gotten was about referral bases. So, do something you have to worry about in private practice? Do you need to do it all the time? Do you do it up to a certain point? Can you cut it off later once things are running smooth? When you're successful, is it no longer an issue? And so, absolutely, without any question at all, referral base is extremely important. No matter where you guys are in your business, if you guys are keeping up right now and you have a lot of patients, if you have no patients, that's your number one expense. Basically, is going to come from working out your referral bases and building a referral base. And it's the best money you really can spend. And as we were talking about it, my husband and I, even if you don't have the budget for it, it's something that it's kind of worth taking the loan out. And the way you're going to do that, basically, to build up your referrals is to get a marketer. And this is probably our answer to a lot of things, is to have a marketer for your practice. When we came into town, so we're in Central California. We're like ag town out here. We're surrounded by farms and cows and all that good stuff. And so my husband just went knocking on doors up there. There are doctors in town. And no matter how many doors you knock, no matter how much free time you have, all the money that your husband, or all the time your husbands are spending out there getting to know other doctors in the community, he's wasting money that he could be in the office treating patients, basically. And the other downside of that is that when you're going into the office to try to meet these doctors, if you guys ever been in a medical office before, drug reps are in there all the time trying to get the doctor's attention and getting his time. They can't get it because he's so busy. And so it's really kind of a waste of time going in there all the time trying to like build this relationship this way. And that's why a marketer comes into place. They can do things that your husbands don't have time to do. They can do it all the time. They can build relationships with those offices in the community, and they can get the foot in the door. They get your brand across. They get, you know, they're an extension of the doctor. So, you know, if you don't already have a marketer, you want to be very particular about the kind of person that you're hiring to be the marketer for your practice. So we tried weekly newspaper ads. It's not a good return. We just did it because it gets your face out into the community. We're in a very small, conservative town. So for us, there's a large, older community that they respond to that. So it's just getting your face, getting your name. You know, we'd go to the theater on Friday night, and they're like, oh, you're Dr. So-and-so. I saw your picture on the newspaper. Oh, great. You know, I don't know if they came into the office, but it's name brand recognition. So that's where newspaper came in for us. Like I said, not a good return, but brand recognition. Marketer, number one thing, you're thinking about materials, all the handouts and flyers you're doing, you know, food, you know, whatever you buy to go and woo the other offices in town you're going to need. If you want to do Google clicks on the internet. So all these things are all kind of going to reflect your referral base. And it takes money to do that. And whether or not you have the money to do it, it's worth taking out a loan for it and getting that one golden employee who's going to be able to do that for you guys. So it's a big thing, but go ahead.
I have Facebook open, and the people who wanted to listen said that they need, there are a few people that have said they need, says the link says the event organizer has to send an invitation, and so they wanted to listen in, but they can't get in.
Okay, let me see. Let me check this out real quick.
Sorry. I was listening to you, and it was great.
No, you're totally fine. One second.
Yeah,
Let me
that's what I
check up instead.
they put their emails on the chat thing.
Okay.
There we go.
Go there real quick then. Yeah, the bonus about this, though, this is also being recorded, so it worked out really nice. So even if they miss part of it, they can go back.
Sweet.
Let's see. There's Bernice. Let me grab a couple of these guys and then send them another email.
I still can't see it. My face is so frozen.
Try looking on your left side. It'll have a little icon. It looks like a camera. It says cameraman. Click on that. It might adjust it for you.
Okay.
Now, was that Bernice? Do you happen to know who it was that wanted to try and get in?
Kim Utterback. Kim Utterback.
Sorry about that. That was a small glitch. Who was it you said was trying to get in?
Kim Utterback.
Oh, Kim. Okay. Let's see. Yeah.
It says, and then she said, still denied. It says that a request was sent to the event organizer.
Okay. Where is her email? Hers not showing up on here.
So she said, here.
Here, I'll message her right now. Okay, I think I'm getting her email. 1 second. There we go. Okay, 1 second. She'll be in here in a minute. And she's just trying to listen in, right? She's a current resident.
I'm not sure.
Let's see, Etterback. I did not have her on here. Don't know her status. Okay, that's fine. Do we have somebody else come on in?
It was just me. I was just trying to get my camera to work, so I left the call and came back, but I'm still just like my little profile picture.
Okay. All right, I kind of wish my profile picture was up here too.
And that's what I see for Julie now.
Yeah, Julie's popping up like that too.
And Alicia is now too.
Yeah, and Chris too.
Yeah, that's me.
Maybe it just shows when we're not talking. I don't know. Okay, well, hopefully that'll solve the problem. Hopefully they'll be here in a minute. I think hopefully that should work. I'm kind of half tempted actually to give them a live link because we only have a few of us in here. I don't think it'll hurt much. All right. Well, let's just keep going then, and we'll. They can go back and watch that and listen to anything else or chime in when they need to. Okay, so referral. So it was talking about referral base. So that's big for all of you guys, right? Because you're starting from scratch in a different community. And I think that's kind of a good segue into, how do you determine your referral base? So you're really going to want to look at all the doctors in town and map out, who are all the general practice guys, or who are the ortho guys, or whoever, who is currently already referring anything to your office, who is not. If they are, great, maybe send a thanks, keep up that relationship. If they're not referring to you, then that's when you stick your marketer dog on them and go over there all the time and woo them and say, hey, so what's going on? Do you have any patients for us? Dr. So-and-so is really good at this. He's big on surgery. Making you look good, making you showcase everything that your husbands have to offer the community. So you're going to want to get them to refer to you. Once we did that, we get at least, 40 new referrals from other offices, like per week, probably. So it just keeps picking up. Actually, our referrals probably quadrupled over like a 3 or 4 month period. So we went from booking out, being able to get the referrals in that week, to now booking out referrals, 6 weeks out is the earliest that we can get them in, unless they're an emergency. We reserve spots for emergency day kind of thing. So that's kind of, a starting point for referral base. So map them out, find out who you need to see, get a marketer. You know, in the time being, if you guys are able to and want to go and be that marketer temporarily, you know, you can, but for a lot of us, it's just not an option because we're at home with our kids, and you know, it's hard to do it. So, do any of you guys have any questions, I guess, about referral-based kind of stuff, or?
How did you find a marketer? What did you look up? Like, where do you find that person?
So we knew we needed a marketer, and we just decided, okay, let's just post an ad. So honestly, we just went on to Craigslist and posted an ad for a marketer, and I kid you not, we must have had, gosh, 60 or maybe 60, not 60, I think it's 60 total for front office, back office, and management. But you post it wherever you can. Craigslist, if there's a job resourcing, you know, like a firm or thing in town that you can go through there, the colleges, if they have an employment board, whatever, just throw it out there. And somebody's going to come and try and bite the bit on it. If you don't, we didn't have that problem. And we're in a smaller town, so I feel like if we can do it here, most other people can do it. Like Eugene, how many people are in Eugene?
It's a pretty decent sized town, and it's a college town, so there's a pretty decent amount of people.
I bet you have a huge pool of like outgoing people. We have 125,000 here in our town. So
yeah, I'm not sure how big Eugene is. Now I want to know. No.
Good to know. It's good to know. So, you know, if you have a pool somewhere of, you know, confident people, you might find a marketer who has no experience. You might just find somebody who's charismatic and outgoing and who needs a job, and that's fine. Really, those are the biggest qualities. You're thinking like presidential candidate. You want somebody who's going to charm the pants off of the people that they're going to visit. You want them to be, you know, if whatever it is that your husband is, whatever image you guys are, if you're trying to be conservative, if you're trying to be, you know, cutting edge with the current practices or current, you know, surgical techniques that are out there, you want them to embody all those different things and make sure that they can keep up with that and that they can do that and they can deliver. I think it's really important when you guys are hiring a marketer for you guys to be there. I was there for every hire for the first, you know, to get our first group in, and not only was it because, I mean, I just felt like I had a good insight on hiring because I have a little bit more experience with that than my husband does. But also, you kind of want to see, like, okay, these people are going to reflect our company. They're going to reflect your spouse. And they're going to spend a lot of time in the office with them. And I feel like you kind of have a natural insight and instinct of, like, okay, are these people going to really work well? You know, men are kind of like, oh, yeah, they're qualified. Great. Awesome. Okay. They want a little bit of money. That's great. Okay, that works too. You know, they're free. That's great. You know, it's like all these little technical issues, and it's just like, well, you know, I didn't really have a good feeling about them. Or the way they presented themselves in the interview kind of lends you to believing that they might be inappropriate in an interaction with another doctor at the office or whatever. So I think that your insight's good. Not that you would make the final call necessarily. You know, if you're in private practice or if you're currently buying out another doctor, they might have to make that decision jointly with somebody else. But for you to be able to chime in and say, you know what, this is kind of my impression. I just want to let you know that. And they trust us usually. I feel like my husband asks me my opinion a lot. So yeah. So kind of pausing there for a second. Will you go ahead and I don't want to talk.
Yeah. Well, so with the marketer, if you do that, if you go that route, like, how do you decide what to pay them? Like, is it productivity based, or is it like the hours that they go to do stuff for it? Like, how do you figure out how you would be paying them? You know what I mean?
I think the easiest way to go about it first is just to do hourly, because most people who are looking for a job, they want a job and they want constant money. They want a good paycheck, and so you need to determine in your town, in your area, what would a marketer get paid for.
Right. And do you have them do take care of your social media marketing as well, or do you just have them focus on gaining referrals from doctors and things like that?
We just kept our marketer at the get-go just doing all referrals, reaching out, branching out, networking, and everything else, because social media, it's important, as in, you know, people want to click on a website and say, oh, great, that doctor looks really nice. You know, their website's up to date. It's clean. It looks like it's not from the 80s. You know, they want to see that, especially now, you know, our generations and people younger than us and, you know, or just a little older than us, like anybody basically from the demographic of 18 to about 45, I think now is just a little bit more streamlined and a little bit more modern. And so we have expectations of seeing, you know, reviews on Google, of seeing a good website, of seeing some kind of social presence out there that shows us, oh, they're known, they're established, I can trust them. If you go, you can't find a website, you can't find a Facebook page, you can't see Google reviews, or you don't find their business on Yelp or whatever, all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, well, I don't want to go there. Nobody cares about this doctor, so why am I going to go there? So those things are important, but it's kind of like once it's done, it's done. So just take care of it when you get into practice. You build a website, doesn't have to be totally cutting edge. It just has to be good. It just has to have the information that you need to present. You know, start a Facebook page. Do things occasionally to get those things up to where you want them to be, but it's not anything that I think the marketer should be worrying about constantly at all times. Because what you want them to do is get patients inside of your door so you guys can get paid and start a business. So that really should be their main focus. And once things have, you know, marinated a little bit and you guys are, you know, sitting well, then they can take over that if you would want them to. Or you can hire somebody to do social media, you know, as a weekly thing or contracted, you know, independent contractor or whatever. Or you guys can do it yourself. It's not too hard. So something you can do burning the midnight oil, and it's not going to be, you know, a huge interruption of your daily life. So.
Right, and we had one actually. Yeah, social media isn't too bad, like as far as Facebook stuff, and I don't know how many people know, but we had I think Rachel started a Pinterest board, a private Pinterest board for Podwives, and so if you find an article, you come across an article or cartoon or whatever that would be fun to share on a Facebook page or Twitter or whatever, then we're just pinning those on the board for people to refer to use on their pages and stuff.
No, I think
that's great. They never know what to put on there. Hey, thank you.
What photo to use? Yeah, no, and it saves you time because you're going to spend hours looking for some ridiculous photo or something that you think is just funny enough to put on there. And in reality, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Yeah, no, that's great. So let's see. I'm just going to work my way down this page. So marketing strategies that you know have brought people in the door. So direct marketing is number one. You know, like we were talking about, is having a marketer, getting in the door at the other offices, having face-to-face interactions with the other doctors, having meetings and having dinners. And that's something that's going to take a little bit more time. But if your husbands can establish a relationship with some of the other doctors in town, enough so that they will all be willing to give up a Friday night, and he can lock them up somewhere in a restaurant and they have to listen to him, that's fantastic. Because then they're going to go, okay, well, what does this guy have to bring to the table? What's he all about? You know, so those are things that are going to come a little bit later down the line, but they're worth it. And yeah, okay, do you really want to spend, you know, $600 to take out a couple guys to dinner? Yeah, you do. You do. So you want to write it off and do it whenever you can, because that's a captivated audience, and usually it generates some kind of reaction, and they're like, well, he's a nice guy. He seemed like honest, you know, hardworking. Yeah, let's send a couple guys that way. And once a doctor says, send my patients to this podiatrist, the office has to do it. It's not just the marketer going in making friends, and so the office starts going, oh, okay, well, we'll refer you to a couple. You want the doctor to make that final decision of, yes, we're sending all, you know, podiatry cases to Dr. So-and-so, no matter what. I like him. You know, he takes me to dinner, whatever it is. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Another little tiny thing too is just make sure you're keeping some of your husband's business cards on you, like in your purse and your wallet. Because then you run into people at the grocery store. What is your or at school or whatever, and like, what does your husband do? Oh, he's a foot doctor. Oh, my foot. Blah 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 blah. Oh, well, here's his card. Great, I'll call him. Like.
Jillian, that's like one of the best things I've heard, because I can't tell you how many times in the first 6 months that we lived here, when we moved here, especially like just being anywhere. Oh, you're new in town? Oh, why'd you move to town? Oh. And I'm like, oh my gosh, where are my stinking business cards? And we didn't have any yet. And so, and even now I go places and they're just like, oh, you're new? How long you been here? Oh, what brought you here? Never fails. So I think that's an awesome tip. Print out those suckers before you even move and just have them in your wallet. Because you really
like
all the
I
time.
just gave out 2 today, just because, today. And,
Let's see. The next question was, what are some strategies that haven't worked for you the way you thought they would? Facebook, we had gotten a social marketer for that, and it's, like I said, it's important to have a presence there, but you don't need somebody constantly doing it all the time. It's something that you can probably do yourself. Like I said, the website, just get it done and be done. Don't fidget with it. Maybe every year clean it up, update employee photos, do whatever you need to do, but don't be totally obsessed over it. You only get so much traffic through the website. They're just perusing it, probably to see if it's a cute doctor, whatever it is, to see if they want to go there. And that gets patients in the door sometimes, so it works, whatever works. Let's see. How did you initially get your very first patients, and how long did it take? So we bought a practice that was already established, so we already had a patient base to go off of. Can any of you guys want to share anything about how you kind of got your first patients through the door when you're starting from scratch? Because I don't have that perspective.
Yeah, we're kind of in the same situation. Like, we're partnering with another doctor, and so all of the new patients he's giving to us, and like you said, talking to doctors and saying, oh, we're new in town and whatever, and
I would say, I can't say this undoubtedly because we didn't start from scratch. But I would say if you were starting from scratch and you are, before your doors even open, hire a marketer. Hire a marketer, have them start working before you even open. Start having them visit doctors before you even open and say, guess what, on this date, Dr. Barry's office is opening and he's going to be seeing patients. Send them over there. So have that person burning the midnight oil as long as they can, going out there all the time, and just doing everything they can to get a referral base so that when your doors do open, they'll come. Somebody will know about you somehow, even if it's just a mutual, acquaintance of somebody else that you know in town. Oh yeah, I'll tell my cousin about it. It doesn't matter. Any little thing's going to help you guys to bring in some revenue early on.
For us, since we started from scratch last winter, we did a lot of free consultations, and we put that in the paper. We put flyers up everywhere that we were doing free consultations, and that's how we got, most of our early patients.
People love free consultations.
Yeah.
What's wrong with my feet?
Yeah.
People just come up to you and start pulling their pant legs up and taking their socks and shoes off. You're like, what are you doing?
Yep.
So, shocking, but it's like, yeah, come in. Yeah, that's terrible. Come and see me. Let me take care of that for you. It's awful bunny you have. Okay, let's see. If you could go back to the first open, what would you have done differently when you were setting up your practice and marketing? Again, hiring a marketer day one. Take out a loan if you need to. Make sure they're a good marketer, make sure that they have all the qualities to be a good marketer. They're a reflection of you, bottom line. Let's see. I'd love to hear what other families in our group did to find a good job after residency. Oh, this is a more resident-oriented one, so I'm going to skip over that a little bit because we're kind of focusing more on the current practicing, since that's going to take up enough time as it is. Let's see. Oh, this is my husband's own little chime-in. He says that you need to work on your political capital. So your reputation means a lot in town. The office staff, the hospital staff, everybody talks all the time. It's a medical thing. It's like gossiping is like their favorite pastime. So no matter what you're doing, your husband's doing, what your staff is doing, it's going to be a huge reflection on you guys. It's going to go around. If you're not nice, if you're a jerk, really, if you're making immoral decisions and doing bad things for your patients, it's eventually just going to get around, and people are not going to want to go there. They're going to start saying, yeah, that guy, he's kind of shady. I wouldn't go there. And just a couple of people saying that will kill you. It really does, especially if you're a new guy in town probably and you're setting up shop on your own. It's not great to be new and all of a sudden people have a negative opinion about you. So if you're in a hospital setting and if you have privileges somewhere, just make sure that your husbands are being oh so charismatic, that they are thanking women, especially the nurses. Thank you all the time. Great work. Being positive, being appreciative of the staff that's helping them and working with them. It goes a long way. It really does. Let's see. New employees. Let's see. Okay. So effective. This one was a little more loaded. Effective marketing strategies, hiring good employees, employee appreciation, parties, gifts versus bonuses, etc. So marketing, constant, aggressive, all the time. On the gas with marketing all the time. There's really no reason to back off of it. Being conscientious of your brand, and the reflection that it is. Hiring good employees. This is a big one. I think if you're starting from scratch, if you did a buyout, no matter what, if you're in a group and you get to hire your own marketer, hire your own tribe, no matter who you're hiring, it's important. So, let's see. So there's the skill level of an employee, because when you go put out an ad, you're going to get a ton of response, most likely. We got absurd amounts of resumes from people in town to do front office work, to do back office work. I mean, we made a day night of it, and we just sat there laughing for like an hour and a half. Because some people are crazy. They're a little crazy, and they just need a job, and they're desperate, and they're kind of just reaching out wherever they can. You're going to have people who are obviously not qualified, and they're not really in it for the long haul. So you'll sort them out, and then you'll have that list of people who seem qualified, seem like they, got a good basis to work for you, and then you'll have interviews. Some people like doing phone interviews first. Some people like doing phone and in person. Some people like doing all that plus in office. So it's really up to you guys. But having an interview in office worked for us. We met people, and within the first 2 to 3 minutes, we're just like, nope. Yes, cross them off. No, you just can tell. You can just tell, they're not going to blend with the rest of the staff. They're not qualified for. They might have made themselves seem overqualified for what they were really applying for, and they're not. Just some people lie. It comes out really quick. We had some guy just straight up lied, saying that he could type however many words a minute he described. And our office manager was like, okay, show me, take this test real quick. And he just failed it. He just failed that thing so bad. It was just well, I didn't see that coming. I didn't anticipate. So okay, take the same one again. And he's like, okay, she's like, you lied. You lied on your resume. You didn't pass X amount of words per minute on your resume. He's like, no.
Right.
Like, get out. Okay, we're done. We're good. Go ahead. So hiring employees is hard, but I think you guys just use your common sense. If you can be there, if you can spare the time, be there. And if you can have them come in office for a little bit. I know for a lot of people it doesn't work because they're hiring from a basis that already has a job. But I think a lot of people are hiring people who really need a job, don't have a job. So if you can have them spare a little time to come in office and work with them current staff for a little while, I think that's tremendous. You immediately see the relationship they're going to have with your other staff members. If you like your other staff members, that's great. If you don't like your other staff members, well, it might be a little bit hard. But you'll notice immediately, like, yeah, that works, that gels. And once they've all left, you can go, hey, guys, girls, what did you guys think of that? They're going to be like, that guy was terrible, or that girl was fantastic, or she was nice, but there's no way she kept up, or this person was bored, they were overqualified, they don't seem like they're going to want to be here for very long. Hiring employees, asking the right questions. Is this job a stepping stone for them? Are they trying to become a nurse? Or are they wanting to do, anesthesia or something else? If this is the step through, that might not work for you because you don't want to be rotating your staff all the time. Yeah. You want to hire somebody who's going to be there long term. It's bad to ask, are you done having kids? Are you going to have 5 more kids? 3 more kids? 2 more kids? It's something you have to consider. So many people are going to be going on maternity leave all the time. Just little things. You really just kind of need to find a good basis of what's going to work for your staff. You might only need a part-time person to work in the front or the back. You might really need a full-time. You might need somebody who might be able to flip-flop back and forth every once in a while. So it's up to you guys. Assess your needs, assess your candidates, and see how they're going to, fill in. And I'm noticing we have a few viewers, so if you guys have questions about anything at all, you guys should be able to go to a chat box and submit questions and ask anything you'd like to. Or if you just want us to reemphasize or go back to something you might have missed, that's fine. But you can feel free and submit a question if you have any. Let's see.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So do you guys use, any of you guys, use a script, or like have your person that sets appointments use a script when people call in to set up an appointment, like, hi, whatever, like to get their information and things like that? You know what I'm talking about?
We do not. Do any of you guys use scripts?
No, we just walk through, what information we need to set an appointment up.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty lucky, though. We've had a lot of girls who already have medical office experience or medical field experience, and so they kind of already know the gist of what to say, where to go to. So it's not been an issue with us at least. But it is a good idea. If you're training somebody or if you're grooming somebody in your office long term and they have the potential, that might be a good starting point. Some people do get nervous and they're like, oh, I'm working for a doctor. Wow, it's a big thing for them. Might be their dream job and they don't want to mess up. So maybe until they get comfortable, I don't think there's anything wrong with having a script, but we obviously need to be able to answer any questions or go with the flow of what's happening with the client. So, let's see. Rolling down, staff. People just had general questions about staff and how to manage staff. But what do you do with your staff? So it's really important, we found this out a little bit the hard way, is having regular staff meetings is so crucial. Especially if you have a lot of ladies in the office, I'm not going to lie. If you have 11 girls working in the office together, it's going to get a little crazy in there once in a while, and feelings get hurt, and people don't feel appreciated. All kinds of stuff happens in the office, and it's kind of comical, but it's real life. But having a meeting where your doctor steps up and says, listen, this is the protocol. This is how things go. If you have an issue with XYZ, you talk to the manager. If you have problems with this, well, then you come straight to me instead. So employees kind of need to know where they're looking to for certain answers. Because you don't want them going to a doctor every 5 seconds getting micromanaged. They need employees. That's another big thing. Don't hire people who micromanage or want to be micromanaged. You want people who are going to work efficiently, who are going to work independently, and who are really going to be able to, expect what he's thinking and what he's thinking for them to do. You want them to be really be able to anticipate everything that's going on in the office. So that's something important when you're, hiring staff too. Do they have that quick mentality? Can they really see that? And one of my favorite employees in our office, honestly, she was just like an awesome kick-butt, stay-at-home kind of mom. And it's like, you know what? She can stay on top of, balancing checkbooks, on top of 5 kids in different sports and piano lessons. She can stay on top of being part of the PTA. Her house is impeccable. I think she can handle 5 hours in the office dealing with a patient one at a time. So, sometimes it's also seeing like the diamond in the rough. Like, they might not have the experience, but they are definitely qualified to handle the position that you're trying to get them. But anyway, back to staff meetings. So having staff meetings, addressing all inter-office relationships or issues, giving recognition, saying, hey, this week, Gina was fantastic. Wow, it was her first week. She just totally rocked it, and just little things like that go a long way to employees. They feel appreciated. It makes them want to be at work. Let's see. You're going to pay for experience when it comes to your staff. Don't try to, slide by on a cheap salary for an employee. When they're worth $15 an hour, you're trying to give them $10 an hour. Pay them fairly. If they're new, and when we hired our marketer, they started off low, like at about $11 an hour. But that's only because in that area, marketers didn't really go for that much money yet. But as we got to know the marketer and we saw how well she worked and how many girls she was bringing in, we obviously knew that her qualifications were great. They were huge. And so her pay needed to reflect that. So, after 3 months, she got a raise. After 3 more months of doing consistently great work and bringing in people, she got another raise. And, come December, she got a bonus. So, you want to make people feel appreciated and like, I'm not here giving my blood, sweat, and tears to practice, and you're just trying to skip by giving you $10 an hour. So you want your employees to have enough money to make the bills, and you want them to know that you're trying to pay them well, and that if you can pay them more for what they deserve, that you will pay them more. That's something that's big, and I know it's very different for a lot of people in other practices. Some people really are just very budget friendly, and it's like, what? I don't want to pay them more because that's coming out of our pocket. And word gets around the offices. People talk about how much they make all the time. And even if you haven't signed contracts that I won't talk about how much I make, people talk about it. They talk about it, or they hear about it, and all of a sudden people are upset because so and so's making a couple extra more bucks than they are, and they're not as qualified as them. So it's just food for thought. Staff, hire a biller. You could try and do it yourself. I know a lot of girls really do. I commend you for the people who do that. It's just a lot of work, and you're already running a household and doing a billion other things in your lives. I say the most that you can extract yourself from the work situation as possible, the better. There's just so many different things that you guys don't know about doing billing that can lose you so much money, all the little details that you could possibly be losing out of because you just don't have the experience of the training. Some of you guys might, that's great. If you do, that's awesome. But if you don't have to, why do it? It's a lot of time, and it's a huge investment of your life doing that, especially if you get comfortable doing it, and then you don't trust anybody else to handle that. That results really later.
Yeah.
So,
one thing we've been talking about is, but it is good for you to at least have like an idea about the different positions and kind of know what to do in case all of a sudden, because like we have a fairly small office, we don't have a very large staff, and so if we lose, like we had one lady break a hip, and she was out for a couple months, and it's like if you don't have somebody else in the office that knows how to do that person's position, you can be in trouble. So it's good to at least have an idea, like what, at least something, about each position, or make sure somebody else in the office also knows how to do that person's job.
I think
You know what
that's
I mean?
I think that's even better. Is that in our staffing arrangement, we basically have all the girls kind of know what's going on with each person's job. So they might not be flawless at it, but if push comes to shove and that person's gone for a week, the girls can handle rotating and switching their positions and be able to cover base or whatever it is. And also having a reputable substitute staff, a little draft line to come from. We would have we had like 3 regular girls who, if somebody was out, that person I could call in for back office, that person I could call in for front office. This person could handle, billing and referrals or whatever if need be. So if you can have somebody that can handle that, or find somebody who's willing to say, oh yeah, if you need somebody for weird hours, you need a pinch or a pinch, call me. So trying to have that would be great. Let's see. Do you guys have any questions? Because I'm going through these pretty fast, and I feel like a couple of them are repetitive. So do you guys have any other questions that you guys have going through your head right now?
I probably
Do
this
Oh,
while out, but how much did you pay your marketer?
We started our marketer at $11 an hour, and within 6 months, I believe,
And then you gave
we had her up to $16 an hour. And she, like I said, we more than quadrupled our referrals. So building relationships with hospitals, branching out for us, we're out in the middle of agriculture. So we started building relationships with like rural clinics and setting up that kind of stuff. So she was just kind of like our little ambassador for that. So it was worth it. And honestly, she actually just quit because her husband has health issues and they've got to relocate. But had she stayed on, we would have definitely paid her more by the end of the year. So she was worth it though, and she brought in a lot of business. So
even though you're well established now, are you going to hire another marketer and always just have one, or do you feel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely, all times. It's like we said at the very beginning, it's just a constant effort to always be building up your referral base, because doctors are coming in and out of town all the time. I mean, just in the last few months, we've got 3 new podiatrists coming into town, which is kind of, oh, okay, great. We have more competition and more people that need a way patient base. But it's also, an opportunity to meet those guys and see, are they heavy in surgery? Are they just doing, diabetic wounds? Kind of seeing where all of you guys can kind of marry together. So, it's really, you can't go wrong as a marketer. There's always going to be new practices building, new groups, multi-specialty groups coming together. Do they want a podiatrist coming into their clinic once a week? They might, and that's how we found out about things like that. Now I have to be going to another clinic once a week. And that's hours that you can't spend, he can't spend. You just can't give up that time because he should be in the office here. So, yeah. Another question I have on here, and this is a big one, is hiring an associate or a partner for your practice. I think we've mulled through most of these questions. So unless you guys have more after this, we'll probably kind of taper off on this last topic. Hiring an associate or hiring a partner for a partnership is a big deal. It's a really big deal. We're going through it right now, and it's exhausting. Not in a bad way, but can you guys hear me all right? All of a sudden the sounds kind of went a little funny.
I can hear you better now, actually.
Okay. All right, great. So because in our situation, we're so busy. I mean, we're crazy busy. My husband can barely keep up right now. We knew that we had to hire an associate, or we'd have to get a partner soon, or we were going to have to start turning patients away. And you don't want to turn patients away, and that's not a good thing. Oh, we're so busy, we get to turn patients away. The second you start turning patients away, it's like, well, he's not getting in to see me. Why am I going to send my patients and all my referrals to your office if you've stopped seeing my patients? So it's not a good position that you want to be in. You need to know when to balance out and to get help. So we put an ad out. Initially, we were just kind of hiring for an associate, thinking that would probably be fine. But in reality, having a practice is a lot of work, and it's a huge burden financially, running the business side of things, everything really. It's really taxing on them, and it's taxing on you because the more work they have, the less that they're home. You know, the less coherent they are when they get home. You know, the less awake they are in your home. So all those things factor into your day-to-day life. So our goal was to hire a partner and to hopefully in the summertime hire a couple new associates to work for us. So when you're doing that, you can't just hire anybody. You can't just hire anybody who, partner-wise, you can't just hire somebody who can afford to buy out part of your practice. You really need to make an investment in interviewing these people, having them come and visit you, having them visit the office and work and shadow, not work, but shadow your husband for a few days. You want to call, you want to talk to their wives. I mean, you want to make sure not only for you it's a good decision, but it's a good decision for them. Our first option that we had to hire somebody, great, fantastic doctors, so qualified, great surgical, would have been a great pair, like really equally yoked with my husband. But in reality, when it came down to it, the family life just didn't gel. And had we brought him out here, or if we tried to make it happen, it would have affected his performance, no doubt. Because if the family's not 100% there, it's just not going to work. So don't try to force or coerce or try to bribe somebody to come out. They need to make that decision for themselves, 100%. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to pay you $250,000 to start off. You can't turn that, and I'm going to pay your student loans, you know. Well, some people, they're not going to turn that down. They can't turn that down. You want to make it a good deal for them, but you also want to make it fair that, you know, they can make the decision on their own. They need to know, be 100% candid with them about where they're going to be coming out to, where they're living, what's the prospects in the area, you know, what's the population like, how many people are you serving, are you doing a lot of Medi-Cal, Medicaid, do you have a lot of private pay, are you doing a lot of surgery? So all those things are really important when you're trying to find an associate or a partner. And we've been very fortunate though. We've gotten a lot of really good applicants for associates. And so we've been really happy and we've been really lucky, and as we've interviewed people and, you know, he's met people. He's at ACFAS right now actually meeting people in person now that he's already talked to them on the phone. And so it's really great because you can just get that interaction and see, you know, yeah, that was kind of awkward. You know, like I just wasn't feeling the guy. It just didn't feel right. You know, that's great. Perfect. Check them off the list. We don't have to worry about it. And this guy's like, oh, such a good person. You know, seemed really honest. You could tell he knew his stuff when it came to surgery. And that's the other thing. Do you want somebody who's good at everything that your husband's already good at, or do you want them to balance out everything else that he doesn't want to do? Maybe he just only wants to do surgery and he wants somebody else to take care of everything else. You need to make sure that they can pair up right and that they're going to be a good partner with them in that respect. So, and you got to pay them well. You know, don't feel like you need to break the bank doing it, but don't be one of the doctors who says, hey, I'll start you out at $60,000 a year. You know, try to pay off your loans and try to feed your family off of that and try to pay all your other living expenses off of that. And unfortunately, some people, you know, they really want to be in a certain area. They want to be by their family, and that's all they can find. And so they'll take it, and they'll take the hit for it because it's important to them. So I'd say don't be one of those doctors. Don't be one of those guys because, like I said, that my husband was talking about, you know, that political capital comes around really fast when you're that doctor in the community. Podiatrists, it's a very close-knit community, you know. People go around, oh, we know how that guy makes his money. You know, he just milks the heck out of his employees or whatever. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you're a good partner, if you're a good boss, then you can get a good partner or get a good associate. So, yeah, you just want to make sure it's a really good fit. So, Now that I've jabbered on probably like incessantly for the last hour, what other questions do you guys have? Or the things that have kind of popped in your head?
One thing I was thinking about is, is my volume way up or something? Anyway,
You did freeze for a moment though.
because I know some people do, but then I mentioned it to my husband, and he's like, "Oh well, our office used to, and then I guess like something happened, like somebody's spouse got to go with somebody else's spouse or something." And so they haven't done parties for a long time.
I missed the first half of that. All I heard is somebody's spouse got with somebody else's spouse, but you paused out. So what did you say in the first half? Something about company?
I just asked if anybody else does like company, like family parties or whatever for their employees, and I just said that before we started in the practice, they used to, and then that happened, and so now they don't anymore. Kind of like shut that down, I guess.
Anybody else want to give your input? I'm going to pause real quick. I'm just going to walk over here. My dog's got to go potty, so.
Ours doesn't do a company party, but I don't really know why or why not, because we're so new. Probably just because they're so small.
We joined a group in New Mexico, and they did parties, but they were super awkward. So we're sad to leave that.
How awkward were they? No, the only thing our doctor that we bought out from had established previously is that just for Christmas she would take their staff to lunch to like the nice restaurant in town. But we had such a crazy like dynamic year of transitioning with staff, you know, like I said, referral basis, like they went from being a good practice to being a crazy busy practice. And those girls, you know, they were used to a certain pace, so they dealt with a lot of change this last year. So we really felt like we needed to just really show them how much we appreciated it, and you know, rolling with the punches. So it was a bit of an investment for Christmas, but we went to one of the nicest places in town. You know, we booked an entire room, did 3-course dinner, like we did the whole shebang. We got them all gifts. We got them gift cards in town and all kinds of stuff. And you know, it wasn't. We probably would have wanted to do a little more, but that's what we could afford, and we just kind of made it count. And they were just so happy. Like the girls were just, they show up, you know, looking their best, you know, on the Christmas holiday season with their fiancés and their boyfriends and whoever, and they were just like, just so proud to like, oh, this is the couple that we work for. This is doctor we work for. Oh, they're so nice. Look at this nice dinner. And they just felt really appreciated, and they felt really loved. And that's all we wanted to do for them. So, you know, I don't think it needs to be a big, huge party per se, but just showing them you appreciate them. And so for us, it was just an intimate gathering, you know, like a cafe dinner style kind of thing, and it was worth it. Mm-hmm. So, and they talk about it all the time. They're like, oh, it was so much fun. The food was so good. And so now it's something they look forward to, you know, for next year or whatever. So, yeah, it can be tasteful and not have to be crazy elaborate.
Somebody online asked, do any of you use physician assistants in your practice? And if so, what do they do for you?
Anybody else? We can't hire PAs.
Don't.
We're in California. I can't have a PA. My sister-in-law is a PA, unfortunately, that she's not a PA. It's a PA, but we wanted her to come out and work for us, but we can't hire. Podiatrists can't employ PAs here. So does somebody else have a PA?
We don't.
Okay, and then somebody else asked, where do you find, sorry, I had this off. I'm sorry, guys. I was in the other volume control. Where do you find your marketer? So we posted it on Craigslist. Was that you, Jillian?
No, somebody on the group chat thing asked these questions.
Oh, on Facebook. Got it. Yeah, I didn't have that window open either. There's too many for me to manage. You're very talented.
Yeah. I had it on my phone.
Yeah. So yeah, marketer. That they were just in town. The girl that we hired was new in town, and she had been in big cities doing marketing and all that kind of stuff before, and she just ended up floating around here because her husband was a pilot, and so she ended up in a small town looking for something to do. So we got really lucky. But you know, branch out, post wherever you want to post. The colleges over here, they have, this was a good resource too temporarily. They had like a work placement program for like for CNAs and things like that. And so they would provide you with somebody to work in your office, front or back office, for 3 months, and they would pay for them. They would pay for their wage to work there. They would work there for you for free, and then the hopes was that you would like them and that you would hire them and give them a job. So maybe check your colleges around there and see if anybody else has programs like that, because that might be a good thing. Like you're talking about temps, people coming in and out, knowing a resource that you can go to that people are going to at least have medical training that they can kind of, you know, go with. So that might be
Well, and along that line, do any of you guys have scribes? Do any of you guys use medical scribes?
Buy one, get 3. Get one for every room. We have one, and my husband wanted one so bad, and we held out a while, but he finally got one, and man, all the hours that saves him. Oh, and she's really good. She's just really good, and she's just a great employee. So if you can get a scribe, get one. Get one. It will make his life so much easier, and it'll make your life so much happier.
So what all do the scribes do? Because I know, I mean, they are in the room with you with the patient, right, and taking notes and whatever. But do they, like, what else do they do? How is it super helpful? I mean, I can see that being helpful, but I mean, how is it extra helpful? You know what I mean?
Just the scribing, just the dictating and taking notes from all the patients. That's what your husband does hours after the office closes.
Right.
You know, between patients, he's going to spend 20 minutes per patient dictating what happened. If you have a really busy day, if you go to surgery, then you're finally out of the hospital at 9 o'clock at night, and you've got 2 hours of dictations to do, and you can't do it. That adds up. It really does. So just the dictating alone is worth it. For us too, it acts as, you know, having like a nurse in the room or whatever. For ladies especially, or, you know, young patients who would feel more comfortable having somebody in the room with them. She's there all the time, no matter what's going on. So if anything ever happens, there's no question. There is a witness of everything that's gone in the room. Nothing inappropriate happens. Nobody can say, hey, Dr. So-and-so made a pass at me. He was totally inappropriate. It's like, no, he wasn't, because there was somebody in the room at all times. So for legality reasons, it's also very helpful. Our girl is just super diverse, and so somebody needs help in the office, she just kind of bounces with it and just kind of goes and floats around and goes, okay, well, I'll take this patient back there, and I'll do this, I'll do that. Doctor's on a 15-minute break. He's on lunch. I'll organize the files. I'll take care of these faxes. So scribe/secretarial, you know, awesome superstar. You know, we have this diverse employee who just takes off so much weight from his shoulders. So, and again, you know, pay them well. How much do you pay your scribe? Thank you, Jillian, for telling me to open my Facebook window. Now I can see all this stuff. I think we started our scribe on the same pay, because she came from a different office and was looking for more employment. They can only pay her for certain like part-time, and so she wanted to make up the difference to be full-time together. So we just offered her the same, I think, pay that she was making in the other office. I believe it was about $13 an hour. But again, it's going to vary in your location. You know, go on Craigslist, see scribe how much.
Yeah, well, we have one of the local colleges here is starting a medical scribe program, and it's the same kind of thing you were talking about, where when they're needing to do their training or whatever the last semester, they'll like come to your office. So we were like looking into that and thinking about maybe doing that. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, and then I mean, looking into other offices too. As you get good employees in your office, a lot of our employees have come from other offices. You know, they were just looking for a change of pace or change of scene, or they needed insurance and the other place didn't have insurance. They needed full-time. They needed part-time, whatever it is. Ask them, hey, do you guys know any scribes from any of the offices? You're all medical. They know everybody. It gets around. oh yeah, my friend's a scribe. She's fantastic, you know. So then you'll know she's a scribe from a dentist office or from wherever, and you know that they're, you know, kind of get a feel for their background before you even try to hire them. Don't go poaching necessarily, like I'll pay you more to come here and I'll keep you forever, full time. Don't do that because that makes everybody mad. But
Yeah.
you can kind of fill in the gap where people need it.
Right. And do all of you guys use this little poll or whatever? Do all of you guys use EMR, or is anyone else doing paper charting? Because we're still doing paper charting in our office.
Mm-mm.
We EMR.
And then which EMR? Because we've been looking into it. Which EMR are you guys all using?
I forget, to be honest.
We use Health Fusion.
I
Did you
think
say Cold Fusion?
Health Fusion.
Health Fusion.
I don't know if we're using that 100%, but I know that we do some stuff with Health Fusion. I can't remember. I'll have to look into which EMR we're using. But yeah.
We use Practice Fusion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys happy with those? Are you guys pretty good with those?
Yeah, it's pretty innovative for being free. So.
Yeah, right? That's a big thing. When it's free, that is such a huge benefit. Yeah, if off paper, I mean, just clutter in the office. It's streamlining everything. You're going to have to do it eventually. So
Yeah.
And
Well,
they
we
were
know.
we got there. So we
I
had.
think we're. Yeah, I think we've been kind of putting it off because, like, we know it won't be that long before our other doctor will be before our partner will be retiring, and we know for sure one of our other employees will be retiring the same time he does. So we don't want to like make them have to learn this whole system when he's on his way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you. You want to make the transition as smooth as possible. It's going to be a lot of work. It will be.
Yeah.
Really exhausting. Let's see. What other software programs do you use in your office for billing and scheduling? Shoot. Oh, I can't remember the name of the scheduling program we use.
We use Office Ally for scheduling.
But if you can use a program that is all-encompassing, ours sends out text reminders, call reminders. After a patient's come in, they'll send them an email saying, hey, rate your visit. If you can get something that is all-encompassing like that, our patients love it. Before, they were just on paper calling patients, hey, reminder, you have an appointment tomorrow. Okay. No, as soon as we started sending text reminder, people were like peeing their pants. They were so excited. Oh, thank you, the text reminder. I love it. Oh, I love it. People don't want to talk to anybody anymore. They just want to get their reminders and they want to go on with the day. And so ever since we've gone over to doing everything electronically, and it's just, we know what gets done, we know what's going out, we know everybody's getting it, and then you're seeing the rewards because people are responding really well to it. So, yeah.
And do people, because I know, like, does that work well for, like, the older people? Because, like, I don't know how many of the older generation are tech savvy and stuff.
You know,
like,
most people after a certain age, your Medicare patients, they've got a niece or a daughter or a brother or a younger somebody who is bringing them to the office, bringing them to their appointments, who might even be handling, you know, all of that. So I think for the most part the transition isn't too bad. There's kind of a few independent older people, but a lot of them actually have responded pretty well. We started doing patient appreciation baskets, which they love. These people go nuts over this thing. I think it's hilarious. We just put out a nice basket and we're like, okay, we got to rate us on Facebook. Do you see the little old people? They're pulling out their little cell phones and they're trying to figure out how to get in the web browser. They want to go on Facebook. They like those candlesticks. They want to go to that restaurant that there's a gift card in there for. And all of a sudden they're really motivated to, you know, or they'll have their daughter or somebody do it for them. So, you know, just do it. And, you know, some people won't be able to hang with it, and that's okay, you know. That you always make accommodations for certain people who are not going to want to keep up with the time, so to speak, but that's all right. It's worth it.
Do you still provide like a phone call for those that say like, hey, I don't do texting or anything, or do you just like say like you're not, I don't know.
No, yeah, you're on your own. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, we still have our business cards, and it has the appointment side on the back half of it. So it's like, here's our card and here's your appointment on the back. So they have the card reminder, and it's like, would you like a call? Okay, then great. Then they know certain patients. You always call Mrs. Flanders because she has to get a voice, you know, she needs to talk to a person to remind her. So our staff's really good about that kind of stuff. They know the patients really well and their preferences. So, but for mostly everybody else, especially when you're bringing in new patients and new referrals and branching out to, you know, athletes or dancers and things like that, it's a must. You have to do it. And most people want to do that because you want to branch out. You don't want to just, you know, only see older diabetic patients all day long. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. But, you know, a little diversity. So, and that's going to be.
And so you said that your scheduling program has that linked to it, the text and stuff, or is it a different program? Or
it's all bundled in one thing, so it's all connected.
EMR too?
Yeah, I believe it's all
EMR too. Okay.
I feel like such an idiot right now that I can't remember or bother to write down the name of it. I guess I didn't think I would forget, but
Our engineer also does scheduling. Practice Fusion does scheduling. So, and they'll send out email reminders, and they'll also send out emails afterwards to rate or review the doctor. So it's nice. It doesn't do texting or calls, but it does emails.
And with that review, are you talking about that? To push the patient baskets I mentioned, we only did them, one, because, yeah, people like getting free stuff, but two, because this is where we were trying to get some of our social media marketing taken care of without us having to do a ton of legwork. So you put out a pretty basket and you say, listen, to win this pretty basket, you go on Facebook and you like us and write a comment or a review about your last visit. Well, then all of a sudden you've got 50 reviews on Facebook about how awesome their visit was and how pleasant they were, how great your staff is, how clean it was. The next basket comes out, put it down. Okay, now you have to go onto Google Plus and give us a review on there and tell us what you thought. Well, then all of a sudden your Google, you know, hits are through the roof and you've got a ton of reviews. And that's what people want to see. We want to hear about true experiences. And sure, some patients are going to be like, Dr. So-and-so is fantastic. And you're like, okay, well, you know, whatever. That was good. At least they didn't see anything bad. But, you know, other people are going to be like, you know, they got me in quick. Yeah, this took a little bit, but bedside manner was great. You know, so most people are actually going to review honestly about how they felt that their appointment went. And you, all of a sudden, you just have a massive resource of reviews. And if you're new and if you are lacking in patience or if you're starting from scratch, having those reviews, I think, will help you guys out a lot because it gives you credit, it gives you your street credit with people. You know, it's like, oh, they're new in town, they already got reviews. They must be pretty good. You know, we should go there. We should check them out.
Yeah, well, and all young people, like, look online. You know, look up their Facebook page, look up the, you know, whatever.
I just pick a restaurant on Yelp, the best one in town, the most amount of view reviews, or whatever, you know, what criteria you feel is important. But it has to do with interaction with other patients and, you know, with the doctor. So.
So how do you pick the winner off of just the comments? Like you just go on and, I don't know, how do you?
I just go to random number generator, and so I just number them from the first person who reviewed all the way down to the last at the cutoff date. Go to random number generator. They pick number 52. I just count myself down to number 52. Comment 52 wins, and that's it. You know, if Google Plus, our Google Plus review, we only got like 7 reviews, but it's like, well, those 7 people are pretty excited because their chances of winning were really, really high, as opposed to 52 people on Facebook who did it. And it was a really short amount of time, so people were like, oh, yeah, I got a really good chance. So and it was, you know, it's easy. It's like, oh, day number 3. Great. But
and you said that you got donations from local businesses and stuff for the inside of the basket?
Yeah.
Or did you buy stuff?
No, we did. So we did a lot of local businesses because we were trying to like build that community thing, and then also just, you know, outreaching, networking. We're new in town, you know, send us people, whatever. And we thought it'd be a good idea. But we only got so many things, and I really wanted to bulk up the package, so I just went to Hobby Lobby you know, someplace cheap like that, and got a bunch of cute stuff, gussied it up, tucked things in with envelopes, and we threw in like, I don't know, $100 gift card, Visa gift card for like free shoes, basically, for new shoes, you know, some movie passes or whatever. Go get a mug and shove chocolate bars in there. You could throw, you know, whatever favorite card in there, AMC, and people just love it. They love it. My dentist does that. That's where I got the idea from. And every time I walk into his office, I'm like, oh, I want that basket. And I'm just like, I can go buy all that stuff, but I want it because it looks cute and it's on the stool and it's all
and it's free.
It's got a
People love winning contests.
So who doesn't want free cute stuff? And I'm just like, oh, I can afford that. I'll go buy it myself. I'm doing this. I'm copying you guys. I can't go apply for your basket and try to enter and win your basket. So I felt dumb. But that's where I got the idea from. It was actually our friends from church. They're our dentists. So that's where I got the idea from. I copy everything they do because they're awesome. See, it's reputation, capital. Nice people, good practice makes everybody else want to do what you're doing to accommodate their patients. So yeah. What other questions? Anybody else listening? 3 viewers. Our 3 viewers we've got out there. Do you guys have any other last-minute questions? Or
I have a question.
Yeah.
Since you took over from another doctor, was it hard to get your employees on board of like changing, you know, change in general, because they're so used to how the old doctor had done it for 20 years, and some of it's a little old school, you know, we're ready to do our own thing in some ways. And how much would you encourage of just like, for at least a while, keep things the same, or
so
the beginnings, do your own thing?
So we came in, we bought out of practice. She'd been in practice for about 20 to 30 years. I can't remember the exact number. She had a staff of 4, and they were all workhorses, man. It's the 55 and up club, and these ladies worked their tails off, and they worked really well together. But it became very evident really quickly that the pace that we were looking to go at was not going to be conducive to their ability or to their desire. I mean, they just didn't want to be that busy. So we had one bow out early. She just decided to retire. She's like, yeah, they had a good pay. They had really good pay, and they had a cushy job, and all of a sudden it started getting really hard. She's like, I'm good. I was just working because I like coming to work with my they're all best friends. So I just like coming to work to talk and hang out, and I don't need the money. I'm good. So she left. One of the girls didn't love all the change. My husband is not, I need you to do this. That's how it's going to be. She's like, yeah, I don't think I should be your sidekick going in the offices anymore, your assistant. So she went part-time and would only work with the original doctor, so which was fine, because it's like if they're not going to work well together, that's okay. And then somebody new came in to replace her, and then so we needed more office staff. We got busy, so we went from 4 girls to 8 girls, and then plus 9 would be the old doctor. She's an employee for us now. She works for us part-time. We did that, we didn't do like a short-term buyout or anything like that. We just bought it outright. But we kept her on because a lot of her patient base was female. And a lot of them came to see her because she's female. And so we wanted to make sure that the transition was very supportive of a male doctor taking over the practice. Yes, Dr. So-and-so supports Dr. Florek. Yes, she agrees that she's glad that he took over her practice. And yes, they're working together harmoniously in this office, and everybody's happy. So we did that very strategically. We didn't want to go into a buyout situation where it was X amount of years or anything like that, because things happen, and sometimes doctors are shady and they decide, no, you've worked for me for cheap for a few years, I'm done. And so you can't buy out my practice. And so we just didn't want to be stuck in that situation. It doesn't always happen, but we just didn't feel it was right for us. So we just decided to buy out completely, and she decided she didn't want to retire for 100%. So she asked if she could stay on, and we were happy to keep her on. So that worked, and the changes just kind of went with that naturally. The people who didn't want to change left. The people who could handle change stayed, and we kind of moved around to the spots that everybody was comfortable with, brought in the new people, and now we have this amazing staff that all just really gels together. Few things that you can't. You want to change your decor? Don't change it yet. Just don't offend anybody or hurt feelings. They like the neon sneakers on the wall and every wall being ballet and Western and something. So yeah, we're going to wait till our 5-year lease runs up and we'll buy a new space and then we'll decorate. But it just wasn't important right now to burn that bridge. It was more me than anybody else. But my office manager's like, when do we get to decorate? This place is bad. And I'm like, it's not worth it right now. It's not worth it. So yeah, pick and choose what change is important, what's necessary, and what's going to be good for business. And then everything else, you know, just draw a Pinterest board of what you want to have things be later and go with it from there. But yeah, change is necessary. It's hard, and it's hard to say goodbye to those employees who were there for 20 years, and you're like, I feel terrible, but one of our ladies, she just couldn't perform. She just really couldn't keep up. She was making a lot of mistakes. And all the staff was really suffering because she couldn't do her old job the way we needed her to, at the level that we needed her to. But we loved her and we respect her enough that we valued her opinion because she had a lot of experience and she had a wealth of knowledge to go off of. So we just tailored and changed her responsibilities into something else. She went down to part-time, and you know, comes in certain days, and that's how we made it work because sometimes there's just, you know, you want to make people happy, and that you kind of owe it to them. They were there for a long time. And some people are like, you know, it's just business and it's time for you to go. And that's okay. But I wouldn't say let your business suffer because of it. Either let them go or change things up so it's going to work. Don't let it hang there because you can't afford to pay old staff who are maxed out on their salary and not having them perform where you need to be, while the new people are working their tails off and they're making half of what the original staff's making. And that's kind of the predicament we had found ourselves in, was that there was a huge discrepancy in their salary, and it was just because it was time and friendship that was the original practice, and it just wasn't going together. So we made changes, and it was hard. It was a little hard. It was a little uncomfortable. You know, we had hired and fired a few people, and some people didn't work, and some people left on their own accord because they couldn't hang, and it's all right. But now we're good, and we're probably 6 months in with the same staff. Our last addition was probably about 3 months ago, and she's terrific, and I think we're good now where we're at. So,
what about you? Though, because like, this doctor takes pretty slow. He talks for a long time to his patients, and we want to pick up the pace, see more patients in there. I don't know. Did any of your patients have a hard time adjusting to a new doctor?
No. We found that the people who wanted to see the old doctor, they requested her.
Right. I guess he's still there. You know?
Yeah. They'll still stay there. But I think most people, they'll be like, oh, that new doctor, you know, you know, or whatever. And they'll mention it to the staff, and then you can be aware of it. But you kind of just need to set your pace and do what's going to work for you guys. And make sure you set that right off the top, because you can't be in there for an hour with every patient. It's just, you just can't. And so just make sure that even though if the time's minimal, it's still effective. They're still very tactful. They're still, you know, they still have a good bedside manner, and you know that they're just charming. Just, you know, you're going to be in there for 5 minutes, but for those 5 minutes, you charm the heck out of those patients. You make them know how important they are to you. You really just, you know, is that important to you? They have to really be there and show compassion, and it's hard. It's really, really, really hard for some guys, you know, to do that. Sometimes it's just the personality. But that's something my husband's had to adjust to a lot. I mean, he's just a very slow guy, and so residency kicked it up a notch so he could probably actually keep up with the pace that we're at now. And now he's just learned that he has to be more passionate and just a little bit more understanding with the patients, and you can kind of meet her like, yeah, I just offended that guy. Okay, I'm gonna watch that one. Put a star, put an asterisk by their name. You know, take it easy on this guy or whatever. So, but you know, they still have to be themselves. So, you know, some patients aren't worth it though. Some patients are difficult and they are extremely time consuming. They're non-compliant like crazy, and sometimes you just need to let them go. And you just, sorry, Dan, I can't see you anymore because you know what? I've been seeing you for 6 months and you haven't listened to a word I've said, and I'm sorry, you can't come to my office anymore. So we'll send your records back to your primary care doctor, and you can get a referral for somebody else. And we've done that. And you know what? He comes home, he's like, oh, I don't have to see that guy anymore. I'm so happy. So happy. So, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out, and that's okay. You know, not everybody's going to like you. You know, you marry the person you marry because you got along. You didn't just marry somebody because you had to. So they don't have to see him. They can go see somebody else. It's fine. And you want patients that are going to like you and like your practice and be happy with the services you're giving them. So, you know, long-winded answer. Number 56.
One other question. Did you guys get involved? I don't know if you have a college there, but we have a big college and medical school and stuff here. You get involved in like guest lecturing or just anything like that to help? And did it help with your, I don't know if you've done it.
No. I mentioned it to my husband, and he was just like, I don't even want to go there right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it would be worth it?
My husband's like taking over this town by storm. It's ridiculous. He was here in the first week. Somebody asked him to do surgery for him because they didn't want to do surgery for him. He asked to do lectures and stuff and to be part of the hospital setting. He started taking call at the hospital for free just because he wanted to build up a rapport. Then he's giving lectures for things. They're asking him to do walk with doc events. They're asking him to speak at a dinner. They're asking him to speak to their residents. You know, as long as his surgery didn't go over, he did it. The next thing you know, they're asking him to start a residency program at the hospital for podiatry residency. So, that being said, yeah, it's good to do all those talks things, but don't be a resident. Don't have your husband start a residency at your hospital.
Are you? Are you guys gonna do that?
It's you know, it takes a couple years for it to come together. But they started jumping on it and they're biting at the bit to get him to do it. And he's huge on education in podiatry. He loves working with residents. He loves working with new podiatrists, and it's something he really likes to do. It's kind of a reality I'm kind of learning that I might have to face. So we'll see. You know, right now it's the legalities of contracting and you know, getting it together to see if it can actually happen, and then seeing if we'll have enough doctors in the community that are willing to be attendings and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, he wants to do it, and you know, it seems, I told him he was dumb, honestly. I told him, I was like, you're so stupid. Why would you do this? Why would you talk to somebody about that without talking to me first? But he's like, you know what? He's like, you know how amazing it is to have a pool of residents who can go see any one of my patients in the middle of the night, who can, while we're out of town visiting their family for the holidays. He's like, it's just an immeasurable resource that would be at your fingertips and would save you countless of hours, especially.
Cheap labor, right?
Huh?
Cheap labor.
Mhm. So, you know, it'll be a good thing, and we'll see if it happens. I think the drawback right now is that we have minimal involvement in our podiatry community out here of people who want to be involved with that. And yeah, so if you're going to be interacting with Dr. X, Y, or Z all the time with your residency, well, you know, you better get along with Dr. X, Y, or Z, or else your residency is going to be miserable. Yeah. So, you know, all things need to come into play and come into factor. You know, it should be financially beneficial. I don't know how worth it's going to be, but, you know, every bit counts. Every bit counts. So, Don't do it. Don't be part of the educational thing if it's not their niche. But if it is, then great, work with it, because that just showcases their knowledge, showcases their ability, and people are impressed. People get impressed. So, and again, reputation. I meet people now randomly in town, and oh, Floric, is your husband Dr. Floric, the podiatrist? I'm like, yeah, you know what a podiatrist is. That's great. Oh, they were just talking about him in our meeting at this thing, and wow, and it's just like, okay, great, more work for us. But it's good because he's putting the right foot forward, is what I'm getting at. What would that interaction have been like for me if he was total jerk at the office and blew his gasket every time somebody did something wrong at the hospital getting ready for a case? I'm like, oh wow, that's your husband? Oh yeah, I've heard about him.
Yeah.
That's it. So you know right away, and I get warm and fuzzy when I hear people talking, and saying great things about my husband, because I'm like, you know what? At least for all the time that he's gone, at least he's doing good work, and at least I know he's making it count. So, just they have to make it count. They have to make every minute count, because everything that they're giving to the practice, you're kind of semi-sacrificing in a respect to your home life. You're doing it for your home life, but you're also, they're taking a big hit. They're missing out a lot of things, to make sure that they can sustain a family and do a good job and enjoy their profession. They're doing it for the rest of their lives. And I do give it up to your husbands, because, you want them to be happy doing it. And you want them to feel like they're doing a good job. And so, realistic. You have to be realistic, everything, and proportional and everything, and make good decisions. Good decisions for you guys' practice and for your family life. So right now for us, that means no more call at the hospital. So we've dropped call at the hospital because it's just too involved, and that relationship, that network is just not quite where we want it to be. And when it gets to where it needs to be again, then we'll take call again. So you just need to know where to pull back and where to move forward. Because there's such thing as being too busy or too slow, So it takes time. It takes a lot of time. But
do you feel that taking call gave you more opportunities for good surgical cases? Like, what were they? You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say that necessarily. Whatever came into the hospital, most of the time was just, it's like gunshot wounds or it's always people who trip. There's always some doof somewhere who fell out of their car funny. They were climbing in a window. They were on a ladder doing gutters. It never fails. So it's usually something pretty silly. And so it wasn't anything really enthralling for him. But more than anything, it was everybody at the hospital got to know him, and they knew that he was reliable, and people that worked with him said, oh yeah, he's quick, he did a good job, or whatever. So it's just building up your reputation with them, showing them off, doggy on parade. It's just getting out there. That's all it is. So that's all you can do when you're new in town. You want everybody to know who you are. You want them to know what he can do. You want them to know he's going to do it well and that they can trust him. So whatever avenue it takes, he was gone all the time. We bought a practice that was operating from 9 to 1. We didn't keep those hours when he came on. I was so excited for that, and that was a big fat lie. I'll tell you that. So, it was 9 to 1, and then it was straight to the hospital, schmoozing it up, doing cases, whatever people were throwing at him. People didn't want to do them. Some of those other groups are just like, I don't want to do this. Ankle fracture, I don't care. You take it. You take it off my plate. I don't want to do it. And so he's like, okay, I'll take it. No big deal. And so they knew it was somebody they could trust and they can rely on him. So you just kind of roll with the punches and take what you can get, and until things speed up, hire that marketer, gun it, man. Gun it on the marketing. Take out a loan. Be prepared to pay anywhere from $15 to $25 an hour for a really good marketer, or train a marketer, find somebody who's new, fresh in the game, and who needs experience. who's zealous and ready to get out there and just do it, because that is the best investment right there as a marketer. My husband said it like 5 times while we're talking. He's like, tell them they need a marketer. Tell them to hire a marketer. Tell them they better play their marketer really well. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Marketer. So I have to hire a new marketer soon because ours just quit because of the health stuff. So I'm not looking forward to replacing her. She was beast. She was beast in a good way, a very good way. So yeah. But any other final questions for everybody? Our 3 viewers out there.
Right. Do you guys use an in-house biller, or do you like have a program do it or whatever?
What?
Do you have an in-house? Sorry, my thing went crazy. Do you have an in-house biller, or do you have a program that does it for you, like an outside company or anything?
What do you
We
guys
outsource our billing.
Do you guys use somebody in town, or do you use like somebody on national level?
In town. I don't even know.
So we have a biller. Her name's, I'll call her Jane. Jane's our biller. Jane's in town. Jane's local. Jane's starting to be a pain in the butt. No, it's not that Jane's a pain in the butt, but one food for thought, if you're using a biller who is in town, who is also billing for other podiatry practices in town, you have to realize there might be a conflict of interest. You know, how they're billing for them, how they're billing for you. Do they talk to the other person about how they're billing for you? Do they talk to you about how they're billing for somebody else? You would be shocked about how some people function. So my husband's tip is to please call all the podiatry practices in town and say, hey, who do you use for billing? Are you happy with them? And try to stick to a national firm, because then it is just numbers. They're just doing their job. They want to make sure they do it right. There's no conflict of interest, and you don't have to worry about leaking of information or issues with other doctors, or all of a sudden having some kind of crazy, relationship with somebody that you've never even met and not knowing why. It's like, well, because they said that you weren't very nice or something dumb. So, it's just conflict of interest. So national firms are probably it's just a little bit better, I think, just to keep things streamlined.
Right now we have a girl that she's been there for like 15, 20 years or something, and she works in our office, and she just does our billing. But we'll see what we want to do.
At least she's all yours, and you know that she's, so that's not bad. So billing.
Well, it's the keeping up thing. Now that there are 2 doctors in house, it's like keeping up with everything is.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, Jillian, Julie, right?
Yep.
Nebeker?
Nebeker.
Yes. I was like, pretty sure that's how you say it. Any other last questions before we wrap it up?
I don't think so.
We're good right now. It was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, I wish next time we'll have to do this earlier. Maybe do like an early morning thing and have all of our husbands take our kids out. I wish that, because I know with the time zone thing, it crunched a few people out of the chat. But yeah, it was great talking to you guys. I really hope that, this is helpful. This is just us and what's happened for us, but it takes a lot of work, but as long as you know the key things to do. Kim said this was super helpful. Thanks, ladies. You're awesome, Kim. Thanks for sticking through this. And it's probably late where you are at right now. I've got one of my kids waking up in some crazy sleep, what is it called? Sleepwalking. He's screaming, crying in his room now. I'm like, I guess
I'll take care of him.
Anyway, Yeah, so I will end the chat here. I'm going to share the doc that I got all the questions with from everybody, and we'll hand it out to anybody who wants to have it just as a reference point. And we'll set up a chat soon again for something else, and hopefully all the girls who missed out on this will get to listen to it, and hopefully they'll be able to make it through almost 2 hours of.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But thanks everybody for chiming in. I'm so glad.
And we want to try to. Woohoo. And we want to try to put one together for more of like the residents trying to get their after residency position.
Get their life on, get their dream job, find out where they need to go and what they need to do, and to not get hosed by other podiatrists.
Yes.
So,
the ones that want to hire you for $80,000 in Seattle, where you can't even live there for that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as we have a date for that, we'll go ahead and set it up. I think we were talking to Rachel Holloway. She's really smart. She's super awesome. So I'm hoping by throwing her name out there, she'll just feel obligated to have to do it now. But anyway, so this was all her idea. So everybody thank Rachel. That's the only reason I'm on here tonight is because this was her idea. So hopefully we'll have that together soon. We'll have another date, and maybe we can do this even like once a month and just have chats about stuff. That'd be awesome. So
yeah.
Anyway, so good night to Oregon and in Utah, right? Or no, Reno.
Yeah.
Reno and Oregon. But we'll keep up with you guys, and thanks for joining us on talking tonight. I really liked meeting you. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.